Here's 3 words to describe this short film, Drained. Beautiful, grotesque, and dark. Drained is one of the most creative short films I've ever witnessed. The haunting piano music could be the soundtrack to a wasted life. I must congratulate the actors because of what they had to endure. They threw themselves into this work and it must have been exhausting and brutal for them. You can watch me talk to the director Nick Peterson after the film. Here's his Twitter handle, so make sure you follow, interact and support. And here's his website. And here's his original short film, Drained. wanted to interview you after I witnessed your short film Drained. Are you ready?
Yep, I am ready for your questions.
What film have you watched recently that isn't horror that blew you away, and why?
Non-horror, huh? I think there's two films that really stood out for me this year. One was Mad Max, and the other one was The Martian. I think both of them kind of did the same thing, where they were just non-stop stories that you didn't want to stop watching, and just kept you engaged from the very beginning to the very end, and just worked on every level, from writing to acting to directing, just everything just worked 100%. So yeah, they're really good films.
Inconsiderate behaviour in cinemas, snacking from noisy packaging, people texting, talking on their cell phones, talking during the film. Nick, do you actually go to the cinema, or do you suffer from cinema rage and prefer to watch films at home?
Yeah, I have a hard time going to movies now. I definitely strategize when I find my seat placements. I try to find, when you pre-order seats, you can kind of see where people are at. I try to avoid large groups, and I also, unfortunately, now avoid opening weekends. I kind of wait, and I'll see it at the 10 o'clock or 11 a.m. movie, just to avoid people for some reason who feel they can't wait an hour or two to check their stupid texts. So, yeah, I think it's a big problem. And I hope someday the theaters will start to regulate this stuff and start banning people from theaters. I'm serious. I think you should be banned if you're texting and never allowed back in again.
I totally agree with you there, Nick. Think about it. They provide subtitled versions of films for those that are hard of hearing. They should provide special showings for considerate people that can actually sit down and not eat, talk, or text for 2 hours. Oh, Nick, I have some episodes I could share with you about my cinema rage. During the film story creative process, sometimes the best suggestions can come from direct family not involved in the industry. Have you ever given a scenario to someone in your family, old or young, and their unexpected suggestion energized you to take your story onto another level?
Yeah, whenever I make anything, whether it's a commercial, music video, or short film, I'm always open and looking for new ideas of how to tell these stories better. Like years and years ago, when I did my first short film at school while I was at Cal Arts, I was building the large set of the family, and my brother came to visit me, and he was only there for a few minutes, and he took some scraps of one set and put the wood pieces together in this really amazing little starburst shape on the ground. And I looked at that shape when he walked away, and it was this brilliant little thing he just kind of just made just for fun. And I expanded on the shape, and it became the perfect floor for the family's house. It was this fractured thing, and I put the mom right in the center of it. So it became this really amazing story point of symbolism that I don't know if I'd ever figure that out on my own. So I'm definitely open to knowing, or to looking for things that's going to continue to push my stories forward. And I think and any good director will do that.
Isolation, teenagers stuck in the middle of nowhere, haunted buildings, and predictable gentle horror for the masses. Have you ever thought about creating an intelligent horror film that's set within a crowded area? For example, an office block during the day in a thriving city centre, or during a busy city's rush hour?
That's a good question. I think most of the time horror films have such a small budget, it's hard to do like this big epic scopes. Maybe like I Am Legend, or maybe 28 Days Later did something similar to that. I don't know. I think any story that's scary, where it puts people in peril or danger, is a really great idea. Whether this is a good idea, I think it's a great idea. Again, it's if you got the amazing story and characters to push with it. I mean, Walking Dead is kind of the same way in certain regards, of a lot of people outside, but then they also get isolated as well. So yeah, I think it's a great idea.
You remember how a simple, clever trailer would capture your imagination without telling you anything. You just knew you had to experience that particular film when it's released. Are you disheartened by the current film trailer trend to give away the plot?
Yeah. I actually refuse to watch trailers of movies I really want to see. If I'm in the theaters, I will just do this, and I'm not even exaggerating. I will block out the trailer. And I think the same people who are making those trailers that give away the whole movie are the same people who are texting in the movies. They just don't get it. They just don't get that people actually want an experience, not a sales pitch. And we want to go in there totally fresh and know what that filmmaker on that journey that they want to take us on. It's definitely worth the while to avoid everything.
I'm exactly the same, Nick. It makes my blood boil. The worst example was recently I video reviewed a film called The Hidden Face, and I watched the trailer after I saw the film. It gave everything away, and I'm just so pleased I didn't watch the trailer beforehand. And I gave a warning shot to people, if they do watch my review, to avoid any other review and don't watch the trailer. It's that bad. Talk to me about a disturbing film you've witnessed over the past few years that surprised and genuinely moved you.
Disturbing, huh? Yeah, I think probably the most disturbing one that really stuck with me was The Orphanage. I've got kids, and it's one of the very few movies I'll never really want to watch again. The other one is Pet Sematary. I will never watch Pet Sematary again. When I saw it when I was like 12 with my brother Eli, and Zelda really did us in, and Zelda still haunts me. I will not watch that movie because of Zelda. Really, I can't do it.
What are your thoughts on the casting process? Do you go with your gut instinct or hope to cast someone well known to get more exposure? Or do you only cast who's right for the role?
Yeah, I'm really into casting. I will spend days and weeks, even on a small music video, like all my Five Finger Death Punch videos. I'll spend weeks casting and trying to find the right people, even though they aren't names and they aren't, let's say professional actors per se, because for music videos you don't get those opportunities to really book, I'd say, real working actors. A lot of them it's their first time acting or second or third time, but still you find those people who can do what you need just right, and they're really great at that one role, and you have an amazing experience with them. On The Visitant, I was super lucky to get Doug Jones and Amy Smart to be in it, and yeah, their names, but also they were more than perfect for the part, and they just elevated everything. So I think casting is probably 90% of your movie. If your actors can't get that emotional arc or that delivery that you need to tell the story, you're dead in the water. I don't care how good your film looks or how awesome your camera is. If your characters aren't clicking, then you got nothing. So I take casting very, very seriously. Probably I put more effort into casting than, I won't say more effort, but I put a lot of effort into casting.
When pitching for a film or TV idea, I find it surprising the lack of imagination some people have. The people that make important decisions. Yeah, you got to keep going and play the game, but sometimes you just want to shake that person like a rag doll until their neck actually snaps. Can you share a situation where you did regret your actions or came close to something that was out of character?
Yeah, pitching anything is always tough. I pitch a lot of commercials, and it's tricky because you're taking their ideas and you're telling them a way to do it that fits in their budget and realm, and just how to make it all work. And I think everyone needs to kind of go through those paces of learning how to pitch and how to get your ideas and how to also defend your ideas. And I think anyone who's been a working director for a while can tell you that unless you can sell your ideas and convince those people that kind of know what you want to do with it, it's the only way you're ever going to get work. And until you can do that, it's other than shooting small industrials or like talking head interviews, you're not going to go beyond that. You have to learn how to pitch, how to sell people's ideas back to them, and if you can, do it in your own way, in your own style, because they're coming to you for a reason. Yeah, and pitching's tough. It's definitely, I think, the hardest part of the job is just selling and pitching. Shooting, it's the fun, I won't say easy part, but at least that part, you kind of get through, and it's really a enjoyable process. But pitching for me is definitely the toughest and the part I don't look forward to the most, but it's also the most essential part of doing it. So learn how to sell your ideas, and you'll have a fantastic career.
Do you prefer to do all the editing yourself, or do you prefer someone else does it or works with you on it?
For editing, a lot of times for smaller projects, I do it on my own because I just don't have the money to hire someone who's really, really great. On commercials and music videos, there's more money, so I can hire that out and work with an editor. And I think being able to edit your own work is super critical. Kubrick did it, Hitchcock did it, Cameron does it, Fincher does it. I mean, all these really great people know how to edit, and having that shorthand with an editor is, I think, really essential, because when you're explaining to someone what you want to do with the scene, you want their input and you want their ideas, because they're very, very good at looking at footage globally and honing in the story you're trying to say. And if you can speak that common language and know what to say to make them work more efficiently and better with you, it can only enhance your project. So I think learning how to edit is a key form of filmmaking. It's with anything else, is technical. I mean, know cameras, know lenses, know what formats have advantages and disadvantages, because one project you may want to have a super clean look. I did a Chrysler commercial, and we used very clean Master Prime lenses, and that was the perfect look, and that's how I got that job. While other videos, like certain music videos, I wanted to get that vintage lens look, so we got older vintage lenses, and that's what sold it for those jobs. So know your gear, and just know, don't assume because you're a director that other people can do everything for you. Yes, those experts are there to help you, but the more you know about their field, the better you can communicate with them and get that product or that vision, whatever you want to call it, in your head on that screen. And it makes the process much more enjoyable for everybody involved. But yeah, I like to edit, and I really like working with really smart editors as well.
I like the creative TV and film talent in Australia, and I tend to be drawn to watch productions from there, and the same goes for some Korean and Japanese films. Has there been any foreign intriguing films you've watched recently that would not be on the usual radar for most people?
I don't really know any super secret foreign stuff, but I can say that Attack on Titan is probably one of the best things I've seen in a long time. For me, has come out of a foreign marketplace. I've seen it probably 3 or 4 times all the way through, and I just love every frame of it. I have friends that don't like the music, but I think they're wrong. I think that's all part of the Japanese anime style. It works. Again, it works on all levels for me.
Is there anything you're working on or have recently completed you'd like to mention?
Recently, yeah, I did a bunch of Ford commercials, shot them in Thailand for like a month. That was a pretty good experience. Directing overseas is always interesting. I've got some new things that hopefully we'll be shooting this year. It's like anything, where the key is just keep pushing and pushing and keep pitching out your ideas. And, you got to feed the beast of creativity. And when projects happen, go with it. When they don't happen, just go on to the next one. So hopefully this year we'll have some neat new things coming from me.
Share with me a cinema memory you have that you'll remember as clear as clean glass until you die.
Cinema memory. I gotta say, when I was 16, I went to the first movie by myself, which was Schindler's List. And it was during that movie I decided I wanted to be a director. Like, it was literally, there's a moment in the film where I said, that's what I'm going to do. And I walked out of that theater, and ever since then, that's every day. That's what I've been pushing to do. So Yeah, it's probably definitely my most memorable experience.
Nick, do you have any questions you'd like to ask me?
Questions. Yeah, who's your dentist?
My dentist is the talented Andrea Linza.